Yo, ladies and gents, Boomer here, and welcome back to another Rocket League video. Today's topic is going to be about utilizing ball cam and knowing when to turn it off. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys that I am a streamer over on Twitch. If you guys want to talk to me or ask me questions in real time, or even see me play different games, come stop on over for the vibe. I am also a coach for Rocket League. If you guys are interested in receiving a one-on-one coaching session with me, join the Discord and check the left side of the screen for the coaching section. The link will be in the description below. Right, so the 5 areas we're going to be discussing today where you can utilize turning on and off your ball cam. Number 1 is going to be information. Number 2 is going to be mechanics accuracy. Number 3 is going to be for shooting. Number 4 is going to be for recovery. And number 5 is going to be kind of hit or miss, maybe lining up the boost. Okay, so one of the biggest problems that I see when I'm coaching players is they don't utilize turning on and off the ball cam to gather information. So what I mean by this is, for example, the worst spot to be not utilizing this is when you're underneath the ball, like so. And I see a lot of players doing this where, you know, the ball's kind of like right above them and they're sitting underneath the ball, and you lose a lot of information on where the other players are at on the field. You also might lose information on if somebody's jumping for the ball. You still have audio cues in the game, but at the same time, I would rather see players utilizing not only turning off ball cam just for a second so they can see, but they can also use the right stick if that's something that you're more comfortable doing. Right, so for mechanics accuracy, this is actually something that I saw Squishy do a lot back in the day. So ironically enough, we're going to be using one of Squishy's training packs. And we're going to go to shot number 5. So on this shot right here, you guys can do this entire shot in ball cam, right? It is doable. But me personally, for accuracy, I toggle. So before I get the first touch and then maintaining my line to the ball, right? So if you were to pop this off to the side, okay, and you can see how the camera follows and drags your car, not only would you lose information if somebody's up for it, right? If you end up on the side of the ball like this, you have no information on where the other players are, so you wouldn't be able to prep for a 50 or whatever the case may be. And so for me personally, I realized Squishy used to do this back in the day just to get a little bit more accuracy on making sure he gets the touch that he wants, and also maintaining the camera angle that's going to allow you to see if your opponents are, you know, challenging the ball or not. And I feel like it can be applied in both aerial mechanics, and obviously everybody knows ground mechanics. You would prefer to dribble in car cam. Now this is something that I feel like all Rocket League players eventually learn, because if you don't, you end up getting dragged along with the ball, and you're like just cameras going back and forth, left and right, and then your left stick feels like you have to also follow that movement, which in reality, when you're dribbling the ball, you want it to be settled on top of the car, and you don't want to be moving the left stick, you know, as erratically as you would if you had ball cam enabled. One thing I did forget to mention for the mechanics accuracy is something as simple as like a double tap, right? Depending on how hard the read is or what kind of angle you have accessible towards the net, I feel like having that little bit of accuracy with a toggle can determine on if you get that hard angle or not. And even just like placement wise, I think it's so much better. A lot of players have like the ball aligned most of the time, and because of the camera dragging them, they feel like they have to correct their car a certain way, when in reality a lot of people already have reads. So yeah. Right, so number 3 on the list is going to be for shooting. You guys can use any shooting pack that you'd like. I'm just going to use this one. It's called LJ Shooting Needs Help. The code's right there if you guys need it. 50 pretty realistic in-game shots that you would get. Now, I'd like you guys to go to one of the ones that kind of is like on a horizontal angle like this, kind of across the field where, you know, you're on it from like a side angle. And I want you guys to just practice putting this like into a bottom corner. Now, if you pay attention to how this shot looks in ball cam, right? I'm not saying it's not doable in ball cam, but I feel, me personally, have always been less accurate when I stay in ball cam, as opposed to if I were to toggle it right before I make contact, or even turn it off in the first place. And this for me has always enabled me to be just a little bit more accurate with where I place my shot, right? If you wanted to place that in the right side of the goal, the top of the net, you know, anywhere that's going to be hard for a keeper to save, I prefer just toggling right before contact. Number 4 on the list is going to be for recovery. So like at any point, something that I picked up on when I was learning this game and trying to get better at it long time ago is when I'd watch professional players play the game in RLCS. Something that always impressed me is they would always make sure that their car landed all wheels on a surface. So if, you know, they get bumped out or they, you know, land in an awkward way, they always made sure they landed with their wheels, you know, on a surface. This way, you know, they recover faster and they always end up back into the play a lot faster. So there are some times in like threes where if I jump up for like a big ball and, you know, sometimes you get bumped to the ceiling, I always make sure I just toggle and make sure I land all four of my wheels on a surface. And then technically the last one on the list, number 5, would be like lining a boost, but I feel like that's such a tiny area to be using it. I've seen a lot of players do it like drastically for the big boost, but that's something you can make muscle memory, like just pathing. And a lot of the maps in the game kind of do a good job of just like having lines where the boost would be. So this is not something I see too many high level players do. Maybe like a very quick toggle just to line yourself up is good enough. But yeah, that's going to be all 5 things. Now I'm going to hop into a game and kind of give you guys examples of when and where I'm using this and why I use it. I've had a lot of questions of people on stream. I do play Claw, so I do play default binds. People kind of realize I toggle a lot during certain mechanics, especially like advanced mechanics. So for something like chain resets, I tend to toggle like right before I get a reset, and then when I go for another one, stuff like that. But yeah, let's hop into a game real quick. Alright, so we got a twos game, so I'm gonna just be like describing you guys when and where I toggle. And I used to watch pros do this all the time. Like I said, Squishy was like one of the first that I watched do it. Like even something like as little as that, I'm making sure I flick that around him and not towards him. And I used to watch Squishy do it all the time back in the day. So I'll try to be giving like little tips here and there. I do it for any like smaller things on kickoff, just to have a little accuracy. Anytime I challenge the ball, I feel like it's become habitual for me. Right? Anytime I take a 50, anything that's going to be initial first touch like this kind of stuff I tend to toggle on a lot. And it's also good for information, right? I can see where my teammate's at right now. I can see what he's doing with the ball, you know, if he's awkward or not. I feel like even something like that, like for a sidewall read, I would toggle for just to make sure that I still have it. Even that, something as tiny as just shooting that around him in a short period of time. This is like all toggle here, toggle on the 50, toggle on the shot, so I could see him and the goal and the ball, right? Yeah, even something like back left, so anytime I like pass in threes, I would, you know, make sure I get that little bit more accuracy. It's Rocket League is a very linear game, so if you're playing the correct angles, you might not need to do this. I think it is truly a preference thing. I'm not saying you have to do it. The ball almost never curves, but for like reads like this, I would even... With that being said, there are a lot of awkward camera angles within the game, so I just... In terms of consistency, I definitely don't want to put myself in those spots. I want to make sure I get like... you know, the touch that I want on the ball, so usually why I utilize it in this way, in this manner. And it's a curious thing because I've seen quite a few pros who do utilize it in this manner, and I've seen quite a lot of pros who don't use it at all in that manner. Rocket League is also very much an information game, and in any like delayed 50, they're close, it almost worked. Any like game that I've seen played at the highest levels, especially, you know, Rainbow Six Siege is a good example of, you know, there's a lot of camera work in Rainbow Six Siege. Especially when you're like lean peeking doors, you jiggle peek. You know, knowing what you're showing the other player. I'd be curious to see if any of these players are, how much they actually toggle for like mechanics and stuff. It'd be very interesting to see. See if teammate wants to pass here. Ooh, it's going to be a tough pass. Try to toggle for it, you notice. Like here. I also have a habit of toggling when I hit the ball, or try to hit the ball hard, just to make sure I'm like actually hitting through the ball. Like this, I'm going to bang to the sidewall and make sure now I can read this again. Right, see, so something like a sidewall read is a lot easier when you toggle this way, right? If I want to like skim it towards the other side of the field, like a switch in a sense. This guy's going to be like right on me. See, make sure I touch over him. Middle. Damn, what a save too. And it's gonna be a goal for them most likely. Yeah, that was a good counterattack by them. Just take a look where he's at, right? See, now I can see what he's trying to do to me. And she's just chasing. Play it back to my teammate. See what he can do. Ooh. Angle. Placement. Good work by him. Great pass, man. Need boost. See if he wants it on his left. Bang. All him now. See what he's got. This is nice. I'm like forcing them to do mechanics so I can see like if they toggle or not. Like this angle right here would be usually difficult to get as well because I have to turn and kind of spin my car around to shoot it. Let him go for me. And I'll play defense. He went a little late, but that's fine. This type of ball must be very awkward for him as well. If you know kind of like what camera angle you're presenting to the other player too, that's another advantage. Something that used to work a lot back in the day is playing the ball into the waterfall. I'm sure you guys all know the water, like these angles, right? Where you can't see anything. You're staring at the sky. It's a lot harder to get information that way. Gotta dunk this guy. Very close. You can see how I toggle so that I don't pirouette away from the ball. Usually a camera would drag you over like a certain way. Ooh, I can't get it. GG's. Right, so this is an example from the game earlier. And I'm just paying attention to see how much my teammate toggles. Doesn't look like he toggles whatsoever. He's completely in ball cam the entire time. I feel like these type of aerial takeoffs are a bit more inefficient. He does have to dodge a bump, but he does a very, very good job getting around him. I wonder if there's another, like, you know, attempt that they put on target here against us. Like, this player is also in ball cam the entire time, it seems like. See when he takes this shot. Yeah, also in ball cam. Even in the saves, which is like, it's crazy. They're very, like, this is the type of camera angle I'm talking about, right? He has no information where my teammate is. And then once his camera like, kind of like swings back on the wall, you know, he's kind of getting jump scared by a touch. I want to see if the other player did it as well. Yeah, they're all in ball cam, so I'd be surprised how many people actually utilize it. I know at least the people that I coach and people who watch my stream definitely have started utilizing it a lot more than most. But you'd be genuinely surprised how much of a difference it makes in your game. I would highly recommend trying to utilize it way more. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for today's video though. If you guys found this content enjoyable or helpful, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. It goes a long way. Make sure to check out that noti bell and join the Discord to stay up to date with when I post or go live. I appreciate you all tons. Much love as always. See you guys in the next one or on stream. Peace.